I started noticing something that really bothered me. Even though I was consuming more smart content than ever before, my ability to think clearly was getting worse. Some people call it brain rot. Call it whatever you want. I found that my attention was shot. Making decisions felt harder, and I couldn't even really trust my own judgment anymore, which is weird and concerning. So I decided enough is enough. I have to do something. So I tried a bunch of different things. I did a digital detox of sorts. I stopped scrolling and just started trying to figure out how to restore my brain's ability to work. Is it Sudoku? Is it meditation? And what I found was, it was really just any sort of active learning. And that's when I realized self-education might be the only real defense we have against brain rot. Teaching yourself something new, forcing yourself to explore things and to answer questions without Googling it right away or going to ChatGPT or whatever AI platform you use, that is what started to make me feel like I was able to think again. And you know, it's funny because when people hear brain rot, they usually think that it's what happens after consuming tons of junk content. You know, like short form videos, entertainment, endless scrolling, low effort dopamine. Yeah, that's definitely true. But for me, the brain rot wasn't just about low quality content. It was about any sort of passive consumption that replaced active thinking. So I could be watching a self-help video, I could be listening to a podcast, but like your brain is never asked to struggle or decide or to wrestle with the ideas really. Like it doesn't really matter how smart the content is. Your mind is still working less while consuming it as opposed to when you're actively trying to learn new things because it's being spoon-fed everything. Like someone else frames the problem for you, right? Here's the problem. And then they explain the idea. And then they draw the conclusions for you. And like all you do is absorb it, but you never have to like work through it. Over time, you lose the habit of thinking from first principles. You know what people think, but you lose touch with what you think. And that's when the decision making gets harder. That's when confidence erodes. That's when brain rot settles in. Like think about it like this. How long do you let yourself sit with the question in your mind before you Google it or you just use AI to help think about it or solve it? Like think about that. And when you think about the amount of money at stake for your attention, it becomes kind of obvious what's going on. So like make no mistake, we're basically at war, trying to maintain our attention for ourselves, and that is where self-education works differently. Because when you teach yourself something, it forces you to slow down. It forces you to ask questions and get confused and just work things out. And that's why self-education doesn't just add information, it actually restores your ability to think and process on your own. And that's why this past year I learned how to play piano. I also revisited Espanol, which is Spanish, by the way. You can learn to draw, but like use your non-dominant hand or brush your teeth even with the opposite hand that you normally use. Like basically be deliberate with forcing those moments where your brain has to work because it's something new and challenging. And what I learned during all of this was that when learning forces you to produce something from within, like a thought, an explanation, a decision, like your brain starts to rebuild strength. And I started actually feeling like I could think again, not like all at once, but over time. And the time I spent learning these new things was also time I did not spend just doom scrolling. So now the rule I follow is that like if I do decide to consume content like passively, because it's still gonna happen, I just try to make my brain produce something alongside of it, like in response to it. And it feels kind of silly because like this is the kind of stuff that we would do with our kids, which is like, you know, write about your day or journal or whatever. But I think that actually helps because it forces you to kind of reframe it back and put it on paper. So write a few sentences about like what you think or what, you know, what happened today or what you watched. Explain the idea out loud in your own words, like how you interpret it. Decide whether you agree or disagree and explain why that is. And it sounds silly, but like that small moment of reflection and like, okay, hold up, let me think for myself for a minute. It helps a lot. And that's it. That single habit turned my passive consumption into a form of self-education in itself. So brain rot isn't just about what you consume, it's about whether your mind is being used or being replaced. And again, self-education, I believe, is your best defense because it forces you back into the driver's seat of your own thinking. So yeah, if you want your mind back, then you need to start using it again. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video, then check out this video. I think you'll really like it. And thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next one.